minute, and thank you for being here on this nice snowy day. I think it's finally ending a little bit. I still see some flurries out there, so I thought I would be silly and add me pushing the snow, pushing the snow away, even though I wasn't outside getting rid of it. My husband was, but still, nice reminder that we had a big snowstorm yesterday. So here are some of the things that I said I was going to talk about. This is a tips class, and it should last for 30 minutes, longer if you need it, but that it's not meant to, take up all of your time. But these are the questions that usually are asked when anyone has questions about discussion boards, especially if they're new to Blackboard or just, you discover things as you go along. And I think someone else is joining us. I think that's Michelle. So we'll wait until Michelle gets her audio up. And hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. Okay, we're just getting started. And I'm just on the first slide on things that I want to address today. I know one of them was your question, so that's hopefully I'll go over it again. So copying from one course to another. When you copy over all of your discussions from one course to another, you're probably going to realize that you have all of the old threads in there. So you don't want to keep them in there. You don't want your students to see them or even read them because it's a privacy concern. They should only be interacting with people in their own class. So I'll show you how to get rid of them in case you need to know how to do that. I did want to talk a minute about anonymous posts. It's not a good practice to allow anonymous posts in your Blackboard discussion boards or actually in any of Blackboard. So I don't know if you realize this or not, but when you copy over into a new class, you are asked, do you want, the first time you go into a discussion area, a message pops up asking you if you want to remain anonymous. You should always say no. And if you use the drop down, it will pick up your name so that everything that you put in the course will be under your name. Okay, so that's something that you may have encountered or you may have seen and you weren't sure about. So just kind of pay attention to that when you get into a new course. I'll talk about a couple of the settings that are important in discussion boards. Some of it will make a lot of sense to you if you use discussion boards all the time. I already mentioned that we'll talk about deleting posts from last semester, and then we'll talk about grading. How do you grade your discussion boards, and also grading with rubrics if you want to use a rubric for your discussion board. So how does that sound, or is there anything else you'd like to add to the list so that I make sure I cover? Was there anything specific you were here to find out about today that I didn't mention that I could add?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
Nope.
Very good. Very good. I know, Michelle, what your question was. So, okay. What I'm going to do is I am going to go into a Blackboard course. Let's see. Let's hope this one is it. Oh, that's not it. It was the one next to it. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. This is just a demo course that I have. And let's start right over here from on the discussions tab. So let me get a fresh screen. Okay, so here's your discussion tab. You know that in our course shells, we always put in the introduce yourself discussion board. That's usually the first one that we have in there. So I'm going to use this as an example on how to get rid of all the old threads that are in there from a previous class. So what you do is just open up your discussion, and we don't want to keep these because these are old, and they're from 2018 and 2019. We don't want them anymore, but we want to keep the first post. So what we're going to do is just click on them. And actually, while I'm there, let me just stop for 1 minute. Here's another tip that I use in discussion boards. You know, when you have a new class and the students are all posting all information about themselves, I like to kind of read them and put you know, I get a picture in my head of who this person is and something about them. What I do at the beginning of the semester on that first one is I click on collect, and I collect these and print them out so that I have the students' information here and something that they wrote about themselves, so that I can maybe, you know, remember that somewhere during the course. I might want to reference something. And it really makes a big difference when students think that you know who they are. And I like to get a picture in my head. Oh, you know, oh, she's the dental student, or oh, she's the science student, or she's, you know, in BIOS right now. I just like to do that. You don't have to, but it's just a little tip, and it helps me remember who my students are. So I was here and I was going to show you how to delete those posts. What you do is just come here and you click on delete, and let's see oh, you can't see it. It's at the top of my page. I'm getting a message asking me if I want to delete threads. I'm going to say okay. You give it a minute, and then all of your threads are deleted. So now I have no more threads, but it kept the post. Okay, so that's a good tip. You know, I never want my students to see what anybody else wrote, so that's kind of what I do. Okay, I'm going to next go in and show you a few settings that you may want, maybe you're aware of, or maybe you're not aware of. But as with everything in Blackboard, there's always some type of a setting, and I'm going to bet that you want to grade your discussions, and I'll show you how to do that. So here's a discussion board. There is a description here. Actually, I think I just created this morning. And there are several settings that I can make for this discussion board. So right now you see this is an open discussion board, but you can actually set the dates for when you want your discussion board to be available. That will prevent students from going into discussions and starting to answer things that they haven't even learned about yet. For some reason, some students think that they have to answer every discussion board on the first day of class, and I don't know about you, but I don't want that. So let's look at a couple of the settings, and we'll do that by going into Edit. And of course, you know this, you're going to add a name, you're going to add some kind of a description in there. This could be your first post, this could be your thread. The title is right here. I just put a description in here. You may want to give instructions on what your students need to do with this discussion forum? Do you want them to answer it? You want to put a due date in? You want them to respond to two others in their class? Whatever you want your students to know, this is where it goes in the discussion. Okay. Oh, before I forget, if you need more help at any time, you can click here and get a quick help from Blackboard. And by the way, you'll notice that discussion forums and discussion boards are used interchangeably. Okay. You can select the display after and display until checkboxes to enable the date and time selections that you want. And then we're going to talk about some of the restrictions. And of course, it's based on you. So just know that if you're looking for information, most of the time, Blackboard calls them forums, but if you go to Blackboard Help, you can type in discussions and you'll get the same information. So I know some people find that confusing. So let's look at some of the settings that we have. Right now, I had that discussion forum available. Okay. If I wanted to enter a date and time, I could say, oh, I want it to be displayed after tomorrow morning and only until, I don't know, tomorrow night. You can control that right here by how long you want it to be displayed. There's also a place for a due date, and you'll see that. This is set by default to the standard view. So what I want to talk about now is this right here. There is an option there, and I think this is a really good option because it allows participants only to see other posts after they have created a thread. So think about that. I think that's really a great thing to do. How many of you have read in your discussions something from a student that sounds really similar, just a few words different than what some other student wrote? This is a way. This is a way not to let them do that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they have to post, and of course, this is totally up to you. If you have a discussion forum that's just asking a question, you don't need to see what that wouldn't be really something you'd want to do. But if you're asking them to respond to a chapter, to a reading, to an article, to a YouTube, anything, you might want to see what they think about it first before they see anyone else's response. So that's the check mark that you would check. I'm just going to turn it back here just because I don't need to do anything with this. Then you need to decide whether or not you want to grade in the forum, or do you not want to grade in the forum. If you want to grade, you simply put in your check and give it a point value. Once you give a point value, it will automatically go into the grade center. Okay. If you don't want to grade posts and you just want to grade threads, that's a little bit different. And I don't think that you're going to really, I don't think that's anything that you're going to use. Only in certain circumstances would you want to just grade a thread. Okay. When your students, so here's another setting that's kind of nice. You know that this means needs grading, correct? You can have it set to show up in your grade center after every post. You can pick as many posts as you want, which means you may want to grade that first post immediately. And find it in the grade center that it does need grading. So you'd set it for one post. If you want to set it for 2 or 3, you can do that as well. Here's a place for you to enter your due date. If you have the due date set, when the student tries to add their thread, they're going to get a message that says they can't do it because it's past the due date. Okay, so those are all kind of good checks for you, you know, depending on how strict you are with discussion boards. Okay. Um, rubrics. I have a rubric that I added to this um, discussion board, and here's where you would find it. I have this rubric, which is just, oh, it's because I used it already. So I'll have to show you again what it looks like. But I do have a rubric that was created. So create your rubric first by using the rubric tool over on the side, and then you can add it to your discussion board, and then decide if you want to show your rubric to the students. I always say yes to this because you want your students to see what how you're grading them. Okay, so if it's divided up into 3 sections, they get a check mark, and they can see where they did well or where they didn't do well. You don't have to do anything with this. The only thing I would caution you about is if you use groups. Do either of you use groups in your
No.
class? Okay. If you use groups in your class, you would have to allow file attachments or allow members to create new threads because they're in a group. So if you ever create a group, and you know, one of the options that you can use with a group is to upload a file or upload, you know, an attachment, or actually to post. So those, other than that, these are pretty standard, and keep these, you know, don't really change anything here. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go and submit that. I did want to show you that, and this was one, like I said, from this morning. I can probably go into another class and look to see if there's another one. But let's go and look and see what it looks like in your grade center. So when you go to the full grade center, that is something that I did this morning. Okay. It was the last one. And we'll talk a little bit about grading. You can come right here and do all your grading right here from the grade center, or you can grade right from the discussion forum. So I want to look at this, and I'll show you what it looks like when I graded this activity this morning, and you'll see. Let's see if it comes up. And so here's what I did this morning. I graded it with a rubric. Remember, I said, yes, show, grade with the rubric and show rubric to students so the students could see that. And here is my rubric. Okay, so this rubric was already created. I just picked it up to use it to grade with. And what you do is just come and check in the particular area. Again, there was formatting, organization. This may have been for a paper. You can put in information, a comment, giving feedback to the learner. Okay. Whatever you'd like to do. So the student, when they open up their grade book, they're going to see the rubric that you use. They're going to see, you know, where they scored the most points. They're going to see any comments to you. And that's how you would use a rubric. So
Cindy,
if
are you showing the rubric right now?
I just showed, did you see when I opened it up?
No.
Didn't
Did you
see it.
see?
No, it
No.
just says view value for view.
Oh, maybe. You can only see this and you don't see the rubric?
Right.
No, I don't see it either.
Oh,
Just
oh, so I guess because I'm clicking on something else.
yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. I just want you to know.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought you'd be able to see it, but this is what you would see from the Grade Center if you wanted to grade it. Also, you can also, I just want to show you where you can go or how you can go to grade. Um, you can also come here and grade this way. And we had another discussion about this. So how do so do you both use? I know Michelle, you use. I know you use discussions. Do you, Sherry? If you use discussions, um,
Yes.
it's just a matter of preference on how you want to grade. So when you open up that rubric, you're going to see a list of all your students here. All right. And you're going to see all the posts that they created.
Hmm.
Okay. Do you ever go that way, Michelle?
No, I
No?
don't.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Right now, I don't have any unread posts because I graded this morning. But I can click on the post and show you. And this will also give you a good idea of, you know, whether you read the post and say that it's been read. So that was one of the posts from this morning, but actually all three came in one under one student. That was me as the student. So if I
Mm.
had, several posts, they would be there. You can also grade them that way. Let me see if I can, let me just quickly look at another class here, a demo class, and I should be able to pick up, let's see this one. I may have another one that has something in it that'll make more sense. Okay, so here is a discussion board. I haven't been in here at all. Here's a discussion board. I see that there are two unread posts. All right.
Mm.
So if I want to grade right here from my discussion board, I can click on it this way and see how many posts I need to grade. Okay. And then I could go individually and look at the post and grade it. Or I could go, let me go back and do the whole class at one time. In that case, as long as you have points in there, you click on grade, and this makes more sense. So I will see a whole list of people that are in this course that maybe need grades. Looks like everything here has been graded, but I could grade right here. This person did nothing, so I'm going to give that person a 0. Okay, I'm going to give that person a 0. I can give feedback. I would be able to use my rubric right here if I had one. And when I'm certain that's what I want to do, I'm going to click on OK. And it will take me, I have to submit. And it will take me to the next person. And sorry, my system is not cooperating with this. Let me see. Okay, it wasn't, let's try another one. For some reason, it wasn't going on to the next person. So I would give it, I'm going to give this person a 0. I'm going to submit the grade. There you go. You see it was 0 out of 5 that this person received. When I say okay, it's going to go on to the next person I need to grade. Okay. But within that whole group, when you have that whole list here, if a person has 4 posts, you're going to see all 4 posts for that person. Okay. Then
Okay.
you would go by the date. If you want to see the first one, you would go by the date. Let's see if you can see mine here. Okay, so this is another example. That student that had 4 posts or 3 posts or whatever, I'm going to look at the date. So they were both done at the same time, but I'd be able to see which one was done first. Maybe that was the first post before they, posted to other people. And you can grade that way and just submit and go on and say, okay. So does that give you a little more information about how to grade your discussion boards? Let me look at this one. Let's look at this one. This one, I think, okay, this person has one attempt that needs to be read or graded. So I can go back here and do my grading again. And remember, if you go to grade and nothing comes up, you may have forgotten to put your points in. So here's
Okay.
somebody that needs to be graded. I can come here. I can reply here if I want to. I'm not going to. And I am going to give this person 4 points. I don't have a rubric to use, but if I did, it would be right here. I can give feedback to this, not so good. Didn't do such a good job. I can give feedback, submit it, and go on to the next person in the list. Okay, so that's how I grade. And you can do it the same way in the Grade Center. Okay. So what questions do you have for me?
Well, so when I'm ready to go, okay, so my class, my current students are already responding in my discussion board.
Okay.
So they even, a couple of students have already pointed out to me, like, I can see, responses from students that are not, your old students or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
So, yeah, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna open that discussion up and click on the date. I think you said click on the date and then just delete all of the ones that I know are old.
Yeah, you know what? If it's just one discussion board, I wouldn't worry. I mean, I wouldn't mess with it now, but for your next discussion board, if all your discussion boards going forward have all that information, do it right now. Clear out all the other ones. I wouldn't do anything with the ones that are already in there. You don't want to delete anything unless you collect all of the threads. If you collect all the threads, oh no, that it would collect all of them. So don't delete. You might delete what your students did already, but starting with the next discussion board, clean everything out before you even start.
Okay, because I have two more already. They're not open yet, so they haven't seen them.
Okay.
So I can go with those new ones that are going to open
Yes.
in the next few weeks
Yes.
and clean those out. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I won't mess with them that they're
Yeah,
looking at now.
you're liable to delete. I'm not sure let's say you'd have to make the setting so that you could delete it, but I wouldn't kind of mess with it. Just in case you make a mistake, you will have lost those discussion boards, threads, I should say. Okay.
Oh, okay. Right. All right. So
yeah, that's a good question, Michelle. I know you had some questions yesterday, so that was right. Appropriate timing, just the correct timing. So Sherry, anything from you? Any questions?
Nope, sorry, I had to step aside for a minute. But
oh, that's okay. So let me, I do have some information for you. I will put this link in the chat. Let me bring up my chat. This is just from a class that we had done previously. You may have seen this information already. There's a lot of information. Basically, it comes from Blackboard, but it's in one place for you to look at. And
it
also,
says page not found.
It says what?
Page not found.
My goodness, I don't know what's going on today. Did I maybe not?
I just clicked on it right away, but maybe.
Let me see here.
I usually click on it right away so that
so that you save it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, okay. I wonder what happened to that page. All right, I will get a new one a new page for you. It was actually in our Padlet, but it's all the help information that you would get from um, from the help in Blackboard. I wonder why that got cut off. I don't know. All right, my apologies, and we'll send it out to you. All right, so what other questions? Do you have any questions? Did you learn something new today? Was it worth your time coming?
Yep.
Getting a little tip? What are you going to take with you? Michelle, what are you taking with you today?
I'm going to take away that I need to call you before I try something new, as usual.
Uh,
And I know now how to delete.
yes.
Hopefully, I'll try it.
And you know what?
And
That's a good, good.
I didn't realize that you were like putting on all of these classes when you sent me the link. And I'm like, I'm missing all of this. So now
Yeah.
I need to go there and sign up. So you'll see
You
me
should
more.
just go in and look in there all the time. Let's see, is Sarah still on? Sarah, are you on?
Hi, I'm here.
Sarah is here. Does everybody know Sarah?
Mhm.
She's our training coordinator, and she's the one who is giving all these links for you to attend. So,
Oh my God,
Michelle, we're going to be checking up on you. Make sure you come to some training.
I'm coming.
You're coming. So we like this, 30-minute session where you can just get a little bit, and hopefully you like it and you come back for more. Sarah, do you know offhand when our next tips are and what they are?
Hang on.
Today's the 2nd.
So on Thursday, we have a longer session devoted to Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate.
Right. That'll be an hour session at
Mhm.
least.
Next
Oh my
week,
God, I need that one.
next week we have on Wednesday we have tools for assessment and online courses.
Mm-hmm.
On Thursday we have a longer session about Proctorio.
Yes, we
and
have
then
a lot.
Then the week after that we have.
Sign up.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so just look at that page, Michelle. You can sign up 2 minutes before class begins if you need to, but just go to the Go Sign Me Up. I sent you that page. I mean, that link this morning. Just click on that, look at what's there, and just go ahead and sign up. And it sends you a reminder. So you should be
Okay.
good to go. Okay, Sherry, anything from you? Anything you learned that was new?
I'm scheduled for a bunch coming up,
Oh,
and
good.
I knew about the making them respond before they could see the other post.
Good. You probably saw that in another one.
That
Good.
was
Yes.
what I
But I didn't use it yet because I don't have
Discussions.
a whole lot. Yeah, and this past fall it was kind of just crazy getting my course going. But the other thing I've also done it more as a requirement. It wasn't graded. They had to get credit, but now I'm going to look at the rubrics part and just see if I want to grade any of them.
Yeah, and like I said, you create your own rubric in Blackboard, and it's very nice. It's really great. There are so many advantages to using a rubric because students can see exactly what they need to, what skills they need to develop more. They can see a progression as they go through the class. Like this week I didn't get all points in this column, but in the next group, I really need to work on that. And it also keeps you objective and not subjective, so there's just something there that they have to do. They either do it or they don't do it. There's no, gray area. So, all right. Well, then, if you have no other questions, I am going to say thank you. I'm going to stop the recording. Sarah is making a nice repository for all of these recordings. So we'll let you know where that is so you can go back and look at any of them that you need to, when you feel you need to brush up on something. And always know that you can come into the walk-in session or the drop-in session 12 to 3:30, 12:30 to 3:30 every day.
Okay,
So take care. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
sure. Bye.
Bye-bye.